Deacons.
All right, everybody, you're listening to the first edition of the 9 Years podcast, the independent AFC Wimbledon audio fanzine that is as consistently well executed as Adebayo Aziz's finishing. My name's Nick Draper. Joining me for today's show is my good friend Stuart Deacons. Hello, Stu.
Hello, Nick. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all well.
I'm all right, Stu. Thank you. I'm sure everyone else is as well. And for everyone listening, you might not know this, but Stu is generally considered as the most knowledgeable football fan amongst the Wimbledon fan base. That is, if you consider the Wimbledon fan base to consist only of him, Jim Whitfield, Mel Gidrich and Chigwell Lee. We're going to be here for about 20-25 minutes every Thursday to have a chat about what's going on at the club, how the team are getting on, and we'll have a look back and revisit some of our memories of watching Wimbledon over the years. But Stu, did you know that as of this moment we are officially, statistically, the number one most popular, most listened to AFC Wimbledon podcast currently available?
Happy days. Happy days. I'm well impressed with that. Thank you.
Yeah, we're number one, Stu. We're number one. And I'm sure it won't be long before we're getting more listeners than all those up-and-coming podcast stars, such as, I don't really know any, like Pat Sharp maybe, Toby Anstis.
Dr. Fox.
Dr. Fox. Yeah, I'm not sure there's actually that many names we can mention anymore, Stu. But no. Moving swiftly on, we'd like to thank you for downloading today's show, whether you've downloaded the show on iTunes or are listening online on YouTube. Now, today is Thursday, July 30th, and for this first show, Stu and I have selected our top 5 most memorable Wimbledon debuts. But before we do that, we'll quickly check in with how pre-season is shaping up. And Stu, what can you tell us about how things went on the La Manga trip last week?
Well, it sounded like it went really well. There's a few people over there that we knew through Twitter and so forth like that. It sounds like the weather was what they expected. It was hot. They shared there with a few other clubs. We also got a very good draw in the end against Granada B team, who play, I think, 3 or 4 levels below their first team, as this playing happens. But I think we've done very well. And we got our own Will Nightingale got on the score sheet as well. So all good.
Sounds good. Granada B team is kind of like when you're watching Granada television, and instead of getting Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby, you're getting Eamon Holmes and his wife. But I don't actually know her name. You can tell Stuart.
Just Eamon Holmes' wife. I think we'll leave it as that.
We leave it there. You can tell them on my summer holidays, can't you? Okay, thank you. What I'll do is I'll ask you now, Stuart, as I will do every week. Give us the name of one player that you think's had a really, really good week this week for us.
Yeah, I think I sort of alluded to it. I think Will Nightingale's had a cracking week when you think that he has got number 5 squad number this year, so he's obviously in the plans of Neil Ardley. He played very well Millwall game, and by all accounts had a cracking game on Saturday and Cartwood equaliser. So I think Will's had an unbelievable week and making it very difficult for Neil to look at anybody else coming in, really, if he does look that way.
And Will Nightingale, I think I'm right in saying, number 5 for the coming season.
He is.
Fantastic. Right. Well done, Will. Actually, one player that...
Short and sweet.
There we go. One player then that maybe might not be as happy with how things are shaping up in pre-season.
Yeah, there's probably a few. It's very difficult to say someone's had a bad week because we're unbeaten pre-season, but I suppose the 2 that were left off the plane to La Manga in terms of Ben Harrison and George Oakley. Probably not surprising in George's situation because he was obviously injured last year, but they probably were very disappointed, yet they had very good games against the Met Police and Mersham on Saturday.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for that, Stu. We'll revisit how things are going next week as well, after Kingstonian and then Cheltenham on the Saturday. But for now, let's move on to our main topic of today. So Stu and I have picked our top 5 most memorable Wimbledon debuts. We thought we'd go for this, as this is our debut show. We've picked 5 debuts each, and we'll go through them in reverse order. So Stu, do you want to start with your number 5?
Yeah, mine goes back in a bit of time for all the older people. And for the newer people, go on YouTube and have a look at this goal. Mine was Jason Ewell, 18 years old, 1995, back at Sellers Park. And, was rated highly in the youth team and scored on his debut with a cracking goal to start off his Wimbledon career. And
as luck would have it, Stu, Jason Ewell, that goal is actually my number 5 as well. 1995 it was.
Scary.
It was scary. Great minds, as we say, think alike. Yeah, 1995, October 1995 against Southampton. And I think Dave Besant was actually in goal for Southampton that day.
Wow, yes. Probably was.
But sadly, as great a goal as it was, and it was a fantastic goal, we went on to lose 2-1 that day. But quite the impact he made coming up from through the academy, or whatever the equivalent was back in the day.
Just the youth, wasn't it? Back in them days, the youth.
Back in those days, number of years ago now. There we go. So that's both our number 5s. Okay, so do you want to go ahead then with your number 4 then?
Yeah, mine. I thought when you gave me the sort of lowdown of what you wanted, I thought I'd go a bit different. I remember my one's actually not a Wimbledon player, although I think many of us would love to see him in a Wimbledon shirt. Mine was Alan Shearer's debut for Newcastle after his.
Hold on, Stu. So for our top 5 Wimbledon debuts, you've gone straight away and picked a non-Wimbledon player.
Well, I didn't pick him as our top one because I thought that would be a bit rude. But yeah, it was a great debut. Shearer, I think, was 15 million quid, which is that's probably about a quarter now of what you can get from Raheem Sterling. But yeah, Shearer's debut was just the Geordies were loving up there. We scored a free kick against us, and I think if I remember properly, David Batty scored a lob from God knows how far out, which I'm sure Sullivan remembers very well. But yeah, mine's Alan Shearer up at Newcastle.
Okay, and you're listening to the Newcastle United podcast, sponsored by Mike Ashley. Thank you for that, Stu. So this is what I'm working with. I mean, come on.
It's only one.
It better be only one, Stu. I'll tell you that now. You've still got 3 more to go. Okay, my number 4 then. Another international striker, to be fair. Shane Smeltz. Shane Smeltz, who made his debut for us in 2005, towards the end of our first season under Dave Anderson. New Zealand international came in against Newport, Isle of Wight, an overseas team, and scored twice, won an absolute cracker from about 20 yards, and he looked a class above the level we were at that time, and he probably still would be now a great addition to our squad, I think. Yeah,
he was quality, wasn't he? We sort of knew. He's one of those players you knew early on that was wow, where do we get him from? And we got him on contract. Not that we get anyone on contract back in those days, but Shane was a level above, and it's not surprising now that he plays in the Australian Premiership or whatever.
The A League where Robbie Fowler I think went for a little bit of time as well. Sorry, I just dropped Robbie Fowler in the conversation because I thought we were talking about ex-England strikers that never played for Wimbledon. So I thought that was what we were doing
Robbie
today.
Fowler.
Yeah.
There's silly jokes on that one. So I think we should move on with number 3.
Move on quickly to your number 3. Go on then.
My number 3 is Danny Kedwell. I think Danny's introduction, we got him for reportedly 10k from Grays. No one knew who he was. We also probably were a bit surprised that we'd spent some money on somebody. But his debut was at home to Maidenhead. He didn't actually score in that, but he did then get in on the score sheet the week after. But Danny, for me, he's probably the first time we got a player that you thought would fit the bill and would obviously grow on to have a great partnership with Johnny Main as well. So that's my number 3.
Now, Danny Kedwell, if I remember correctly, there was a bit of a concern at the time. Well, from a few people, because we'd started the season really, really well that year with our front 3, with John Main scoring goals, Tony Finn, Elliot Godfrey, who I thought was a really fantastic player for us. We thought that might disrupt it a little bit, but Kedwell came in and he took us to a different level, didn't he?
Yeah, it probably was a brave decision, wasn't it? But I think everyone can see that Danny Kedwell was an all-action player, would chase lost causes. It was probably what we all really want a Wimbledon striker to be, and he turned out to be quite an excellent one in the end, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably my favourite Wimbledon player of all time.
Yeah, good shout.
As car goes past. Okay, my number 3 then. Okay, a striker that probably isn't as fondly remembered by Wimbledon fans. My number 3 is Drew Broughton, who I might have just opened up a can of worms with this one. He made his debut for us in the year we won promotion from the conference. Came on at Tamworth away about February-March time, in must have been 2011. And obviously there was a little bit of concern. There was a lot of angst amongst Wimbledon fans, certainly that were at the game as well when he came on as a substitute. It came a bit heated behind the goal at Tamworth there in their little tiny terrace. Obviously, because Drew Broughton had formerly played for Milton Keynes. He came on, scores were level at 2-2. We'd been 2-0 up. We'd gone back to 2-2. He came on, changed the game, scored a goal to put us 3-2 up, and we went on to win comfortably that day. But that was an interesting debate around those times about the idea that an ex-franchise player would indeed sign for us, whether or not you consider Jermaine Darlington coming on, however you view it. Stu, what do you remember of that?
Yeah, well, for the listeners that are still listening after they didn't turn it off after Nick's number 3 selection. Drew was an interesting one, wasn't he? He basically a bit of a traveller. A journeyman. Not a traveller, a journeyman. He did split the fan base, didn't we? And I think a lot of people actually don't even consider he scored a goal up at Tamworth. I think they were calling it 4-2 when they finished in the end. But it was a difficult one. I think we're going to come across this more and more. Whether we actually sign I don't think we're ever going to sign a player from the Buckinghamshire.
Not directly, no.
But the loan thing, there's always going to be some background. But Drew is an interesting one, and I'm sure will cause many debate amongst the people that feed back into us.
Yes, hopefully feed back to us if they're not going to, turn their iPod off in disgust at the mention of Drew Broughton's name. But to be fair, he was, unlike some choices in this top 5, a Wimbledon player, and he did score a couple of goals for us as well as we got promoted that year. But yes, quite an interesting debate was had at the time about his signing for us on loan. But
definitely.
Do you want to happier times now? Maybe a better choice for your number 2?
Well, you'll be surprised to know mine's another Wimbledon player that I think.
Wow, 2 in a row.
I know. Happy days. Mine's Seb Brown.
Yep.
Seb. Debut was, funny enough, at Tamworth as well, but obviously in Gloria days. We were 2-0 down that day, and then James Pullen went down with an injury. Then at half-time, I remember seeing Seb come running out. Now, for people that have seen Seb's pre-season, they would have been a little bit probably concerned because Seb didn't have the most confident pre-season, but I think that was through nerves. But he come on, we were 2-0 down at Tamworth. He made some good saves. Danny Kemble scored a couple of goals, and we went home 2-2. And that was probably the start of a remarkable 2 or 3 years for Seb in a Wimbledon shirt. So that's my number 2.
A fantastic choice. An absolute legend that Seb Brown was for us. Another absolute legend is my number 2, depending on what you view as the word legend. This player I'm putting in there because he is the subject of my dad's favourite story in his time supporting AFC Wimbledon. Now, my dad, at his advancing years, can't remember too much now. Can't really remember where he parked his car when he goes shopping. Can't remember what happened last week. But he will never ever forget the day we went down to Worthing to see Wimbledon 2000 in 2003. And a substitute came on the pitch. No PA announcements down at Worthing, which is actually a blessing at the time if you consider some of the PA announcements that were made at Worthing over the years. No one knew who he was except for Stu. Stu obviously stalking the players at this point. And he comes on and he scores a goal with his first touch. Michael Roots gets injured in the process of scoring the goal, stretched off, and he's never seen from again. He is the subject of conspiracy theories that are normally reserved for the likes of Lord Lucan and Shergar. Michael Roots, on his debut, one touch, scores a goal, never again.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, you had a pop at me getting Dan and Shearer for Newcastle, and you've gone for a person that played one game, and only because your dad can remember who he is.
And also, Stu, to be fair, no striker in Wimbledon history has the strike rate of him. Like, 100% strike rate, with not just in games or appearances, in touches. He had one touch and he scored.
Well, apart from Lyle Taylor, maybe you can argue recently, but yeah. That's
okay, possibly. All right, yeah, possibly Lyle Taylor. But, shush, all right. Okay.
Where were you? We're number 2, so you thrown me with...
that was my number 2, so, yeah, you're number 1 then. The big one.
Yeah, so my number 1 was Kyle Mohammed. Obviously his first appearance for Wimbledon. Kyle had a really big impact. We had a home to Barrow, won 2-0. Straight away, you could tell Kyle was different to what he had. It was a great decision by Terry Brown because we were pretty comfortable playoffs but he brought in Kayed, and straight away we went on a most amazing run. We didn't lose in the last 8 games. He scored away at Cambridge.
That's the game after. I remember. Yeah, Cambridge, where we bossed them.
It was, wasn't it? And all of a sudden we looked like an amazing team. And I think for me, the reason I've gone with Kayed is because we blew away Fleetwood in the playoffs. If you all remember the 2-0 win up at Fleetwood on a lovely Friday night up there.
Yeah.
And then I think, was it 6-2 at home, was it? 5-2, 6-2?
6-1, I think. 6-1. And we won 8-1 in aggregate.
I gave him another goal. That's me being generous, of course. But we went in 7 playoffs, didn't we, in fine form. And I think it wasn't all down to Kayed, but he gave us that
boost.
That impetus, didn't he, really?
Yeah, that sort of boost, just as we always say, the team with momentum going into the playoffs are always normally the ones that then go up through them. And that Cambridge game, certainly I remember as being the game I thought we might actually be going up this year.
And so it proved.
We won't mention penalties at Manchester, though. Okay, so my number 1 then. Let's just go straight out there. I know I've mentioned this lot once already on this podcast, so I apologise for mentioning it again, but Toby Ajala made his debut in an FA Cup tie in Buckinghamshire in... what year was it, actually, Stu? Was it 2012? It was 2012, wasn't it?
Yeah, it must have been.
Or was it 2013? One or the other. And he came on... No, he joined us, and he was straight in the starting lineup for that game in Milton Keynes. What an intense situation to find yourself in to make your debut. But not only did he have a fantastic game and created our goal for Jack Midson that day with his one and only assist in a Wimbledon shirt. Bless him. End product wasn't the best, but on that day it was spot on with his cross for Jack's goal. And then he also picked up a very unfortunate booking that day, booked on his debut for a slightly mistimed challenge on a Milton Keynes player who I certainly won't mention the name of, but let's just say he might have red hair. And
he was. To be fair, Toby was brilliant, wasn't he? We used to have a bit of a joke, you did, we? So his second touch was always a tackle because he spent more time chasing the fullback back for the ball than he did, pushing the fullback. But I think if anyone. That day was never, for whatever reasons, and it wasn't the greatest out there. But if ever there's a picture that symbolises that day, there's probably 2. Obviously, Jack running into the Wimbledon faithful behind the goal, but the tackle when he took out that red-headed person who we all know so well. I think it's probably the best picture I can remember, and I know I had that as a screensaver for many years. For many,
many years, yes. A hell of a debut there for Toby Ajala, and he was a player that we all loved. He did a really good shift for us. And I think that brings us to the end of our top 5. And, Alan Shearer aside, I think we've come up with 2 fantastic top 5 lists for our first show. And now we're going to ask everyone listening to get involved via our Facebook page. Tell us what you think of our top 5s. Maybe make your own suggestions for other memorable debuts that we didn't mention today. And you can find us at facebook.com/9YRS podcast. facebook.com/9YRS podcast. And you'll see a thread to which you can add your comments about our top 5s. And what you'll also find there is a thread through which you can help to contribute to next week's show as well. As next week, we're going to run our first contest here on the 9 Years podcast. Very exciting, not Stu? Yeah?
I can't wait.
Neither can I. Stu and I will be previewing the new season next week, and as part of that, we want to hear your predictions. And come the end of the year, we'll look back on your forecasts, and whoever we deem to have been the best soothsayer will win themselves £9 English and 99 English pence worth of club merchandise of their choosing. Not only that, Stu has generously agreed to pay for an all-expenses paid trip to Las Vegas for a week. So thank you very much, Stu. That is blown away by your generosity. Now, listen carefully.
I can't believe myself.
No, I bet you can't. Okay, we have to get these correct. So we've got the rules of this competition correct, so you've got to listen very, very carefully now. Number 1 rule: these predictions must concern AFC Wimbledon, Stu, or people connected with the club. Not Newcastle players, not Liverpool players, Wimbledon players, or staff, or volunteers. Okay, Stu?
Okay, I can live with that. I've got to go with that one.
Yeah, good. Hooray. Okay, I must say, though, that the more bold the prediction, the better. So if we had run this contest this time last year, guessing that we'd finish in the bottom half of the league, or that Adebayo Akinfenwa would be our top scorer, well, those would have been boring and would have been unlikely to be winning predictions. So a prediction that David Connolly would sign for us, only to retire a short while afterward, well, you would likely have won the cash prize for a very bold, outlandish prediction. So the more if you get my words right, the more ridiculous the prediction, the better, really. So just to get you started, I'm going to make my forecast for the new season. This is my entry into the competition. I'm not sure if I can win £9.99, but okay. My prediction for the following season is that Adebayo Akinfenwa, as part of his ever-increasing media profile, will get a job as a reporter for The One Show, and his first feature will be about yoga in prisons. And actually, I think that could be a goer. Stu, do you have a prediction now, or do you want to wait until next week?
Well, mine are quite rubbish. I was thinking about this when you gave me a heads up, as I should you to do so. And I haven't got anything anywhere near as good as that. I was thinking about maybe someone coming on and doing a streak to Akinfenwa, running on and maybe falling at his feet and with a BMO t-shirt on. But mine's quite boring compared to The One Show, so I'll have another think about that, I think.
Yeah, a lot of conversations, a lot of the thoughts you have to do involve naked people. But anyway, moving on. You can send your predictions to us in 3 ways then. Add them to the Facebook thread at facebook.com/9YRS podcast. You can message us directly via our Twitter page at 9YRS podcast. Or you can email them to me at 9YRS at may14.co.uk. That's 9YRS at may14.co.uk. And the closing date for entries for the cash prize is noon on Tuesday the 4th of August. And I must stress, 1 entry per person. Right, Stu, your turn now. Do you want to quickly introduce what you and Paul Raymond are working on for the coming season?
Yeah, definitely. So I've tried to put a little bit of this on social media, Twitter and stuff like that. And what basically Paul and I are doing, last season we noticed that there was a Periscope, which is an add-on with Twitter where you can link in your Twitter accounts. And basically what we're going to do next season is we're going to provide live Periscope feed coverage before games, during half-time and after games. We can't do any live footage now, go against copyright, and also go against what Paul and I would really want to do, basically provide a match experience for people that are not able to get to games. So if I would say Nick, Hartlepool, probably the coldest place on earth, we probably can't replicate how cold it is, but you'll see by the amount of layers that Nick has, and you won't be able to see him too much.
Well, no,
it's quite cold up there.
You would be able to see me, to be fair, because if I don't put any clothes on, no one can see me. I'll disappear on that. But anyway.
So there's little things we're going to try and capture. But yeah, if you want to join in, we also have a Twitter, which is at AFCW Scope. We've just got our 200th follow, which is really good news, but we're going to be there. So come and find us, and we'll also do some links as well to this on how to get to know us.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Stu. Well, I think we've got about a minute and a half, I reckon, so we might just go over a little bit, because just to bring us to the end of today's show, I thought we'd introduce what we hope to do each week, which is get you to, if you have any questions for us, just to send us your questions and we'll try and answer them. We'll try and give a little bit of time each week to answer them, so you can send them through our Facebook or our Twitter pages, and I'll give the addresses again at the end of the show. But for now, I thought just to get the ball rolling on it, Stu, I've got a few questions for you if you're interested, just to help get people that might not be familiar with you just to get to know you a little bit better and your history of supporting Wimbledon.
Okay, go on then.
That sound okay? So, okay, question 1 then. Can you just let people know, when was your first Wimbledon game that you attended?
My first game was January... Oh, Mikey T's probably good for this, isn't it? I think it was just after New Year, January 1990, home game against Arsenal at Plough Lane, and we won 1-0. It was when the Bobby Gould actually dropped John Fashanu, all the top players. I think there was some alteration that went on, and Mickey Bennett on his debut scored at the end. I was behind the goal, and it was my first game for Wimbledon, and it's probably one of the best days of my life looking back now, because it brought me a whole new avenue and support base as well.
Fantastic. Next question then. Have you ever missed a Wimbledon game to attend a musical, say for instance, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert?
Yeah, I did. Many years ago I missed a game It was a midweek game, wasn't it? Was it Oxford?
It was Oxford away, Stu, who were top of the league at the time. It was a massive game.
Yeah, it was booked well in advance, if I remember properly, and it just happened to. I think I got the dates wrong basically, and I was at the cinema checking my phone drastically for updates whilst getting loads of abuse from my mates who were at the game asking me where I was. So yes, thank you very much, Nick. Move on.
No problems. Next one, last question. Have you ever attended an away game but have been refused entry to the stadium because you have bought the wrong ticket?
These aren't questions. These are basically embarrassing moments for me.
These are just questions off the top of my head, Stu, I came up with.
Yeah, we did. Me and my fiancée, gosh, she listens to this, she'd go mad. The rain went to Aldershot Town, walked all the way up the hill. As people have been at Aldershot will remember, it's a nightmare to go through the gardens and stuff. Got to the game. I actually got in with my ticket, which was for a previous
game. Macclesfield, yeah.
I think it was Chesterfield we'd played before.
Macclesfield.
We just picked up the ticket, totally forgot, took the wrong tickets. I got in. More worryingly, I got in.
Yeah.
The ticket wasn't for the game.
Yeah.
But my fiancée, my girlfriend back then, Lorraine, didn't get in. And it was quite embarrassing. We didn't watch the game in the end because they wouldn't let us in because they couldn't sell tickets on the turnstile. So boo to Aldershot, and they should have maybe been more accommodating for my obvious mistake.
Yeah, karma and everything, Stu. That's why they got relegated the following season.
Yeah, it's a ground I don't really want to go to too many times because I have a bit of
bad memories. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Stu. I'm sure you can get your own back on me next week, but for now,
I will do.
I'll try and be very, very quick in signing off because we have gone a couple of minutes over. So thank you for listening today. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll join us again next Thursday on the 6th of August. You can listen to us on our YouTube channel. Search for 9YRS Podcast or find us on iTunes and have the show downloaded automatically to your laptop, tablet or smartphone. You can listen on the train, the bus, whilst you're at work, whilst you're at the gym or in the bath, or even whilst you're waiting in A&E having torn your calf in two. I don't know who that could apply to.
Oh dear, go on, keep going.
Okay, that's all right. If you've downloaded this, you could even listen on your way to a game, or even when you're in the ground waiting for kick-off or during half-time. You might even be one of around 1,000 fans that will be able to listen using your AFC Wimbledon War Child earphones, if they've been delivered yet, and I'm not sure they have. So moving swiftly on, just a reminder, please add your comments to Facebook threads, facebook.com/9YRS podcast, and follow us on Twitter @9YRS podcast. For members of the secret guestbook, Eric will post the link to the extra bonus content on Friday afternoon. And for everyone else, we look forward to joining us next week when we'll be joined by Mike Richardson to discuss the Labour leadership contest. We'll see you then.